Hi, once again, I'm the manager for dwpcorruption.co.uk, and with me for the third part of the video, I've got Mr. Alan Darby, who's continuing to give his spiel with regards the mishaps of what has happened pertaining to the collusion and the corruption with council, MPs and government bodies. Hi again, Alan, good to see you, mate. I think we're best just carrying on where we left off. So, what was you about to say?
The other night watchman, as I've said at the end of the last recording, was Richard William Colson, a man from Coventry. The firm of solicitors he used to buy one of the properties which were brought with stolen money, as the first one was, with a prison officer. The money came from the Amerson account, £94,000, which was stolen in 1998. It was recorded at Coventry Crown Court on the police documents, which I have copies of, as being stolen in 1992. So Richard William Colson used a firm of solicitors to buy his property for the two solicitors who stole the money, and he used a firm of solicitors in Coventry called Manda Hadley at the precinct in Coventry, the senior partner of which is a man called D.C. Manda, who at the time was president, none other than president of the Warwickshire Law Society. Now, Colson,
wheels within wheels, isn't it, all the while?
Colson only had the house for 2 months, and he told me, I've got it in a signed statement by him, that he had the house for 2 months, couldn't keep up the payments because he lost his job, simply walked into Bristol and West, threw the keys on the table and said, "There's your keys, I don't want your property no more." And I said, "You don't know, do you still owe them anything?" He said, "No." I got in touch with Bristol and West because obviously you can't walk away from a mortgage. At the very least, you've got to pay the interest on the 25 years mortgage. And Bristol and West had never heard of it. Now, having said that, that was the first piece of cast iron information, cast iron evidence that I had that was something was really wrong. And I pressed hard on the issue. I was letting the police know, MPs, Mike O'Brien phoned me up, as I said, and he had that information as well. But we are now coming into 1992.
Can I stop for a second? I think it's an important issue for me to say this for the benefit of the public. What is your status, or what's your status to enable you to get all these facts and figures and all this information? It's mind-blowing. How have you got this information together?
By trial and error, by following your instincts. I didn't have the information at the time. I didn't have this information as such. It was in actual fact given to me by the father, and I made an application to Warwick Crown Court to get the evidence after the trial. So what I'm relating to is the fact that to have this evidence in document form, I didn't have it in document form. I simply went knocking doors and I asked, does so-and-so and so-and-so J.H. Deeming live there in the case of the Deeming false address? And I'm knocking on a door and he says, I know the Deemings. He said, be careful. Everybody knows them round here. They're a right bunch of thieving bastards. That was what he said to me. He said, I'm a Bever miner. I've been here 30 years. He said, the Daily round the corner. So I'm knocking on a door which is on the sales contract, not the original one that I'm talking about, is because this document was passed backwards and forwards from my solicitor. But I did then get the original one, which was used, a better copy.
So in a nutshell, I'm right in saying that 21 years of persecution, 21 years of a lost life, really. You've obviously put a lot of time and effort into investigations, having to check people out, check information out that's being given to you and being provided. You know, it's absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? You know, that people have to go to these sort of lengths to obviously obtain the truth and the facts, you know. So this is mind-blowing. I presume that by the end of these videos, really speaking, we should be in a position to have opportunity to knock on these people's doors and have them bloody arrested.
Well, that is a fact, but if I can just show you how the corruption works on this. After trying to expose the two solicitors who were working for Argyle's became very uncomfortable. And to distance themselves from the allegations I was making at Argyle's, they set the two solicitors adrift, in as much as the two solicitors, so they say, decided to form a company on their own, a law firm on their own. And really all that happened in Atherstone in Warwickshire, one day it was Argyle Solicitors. Over the shop, the law firm was Argyle Solicitors. The next day, it was Archer Adams. All they'd done was took the name down and put a name up. And we've got another law firm. But, unknowns to me at that particular time, what they was doing, or what they intended to do, and what they'd started to do, was to round all the Argyle's old vulnerable customers up and pass them on to Archer Adams. There was ring fenced at Archer Adams. And the amount of old people that were involved, I should imagine there are other firms of solicitors used the same tactic as well and got rid of all the vulnerable people who were easy targets and passed them on to Archer Adams, because at the end of the day, at the end of 1998, they'd stole £5.4 million and there was over 300 victims. Now, if Archer Adams starts up on the 13th of April 1992, and the first offence day on the 2nd of April 1992, and the first offence they commit is less than 2 months after they start up, then this firm of solicitors was set up for the sole purpose to rip people off.
Corruption, corruption, corruption.
It was premeditated. Now, in '93, the phone call O'Brien comes into it, and he says that he has heard evidence that allegations that I'm making, evidence that I'm making allegations against officers. It's about 9:30 at the night. Could have been a bit later. And he said, "Be very careful to what you say, because I've got Councillor Olney sitting next to me." I said, "Well, I don't know who you are from Adam, but if you are who you say you are, then yes, I have got the evidence of the allegations I make. But I don't know who you are. You say you're an MP. I've never heard of you before." Anyway, I said, "My MP is David Lightbrown." And he said, "Would you care to show me the evidence?" I said, "Well, as I said, I don't know you from Adam, so what do I get out of this? I show you the evidence, but what do you do? I promise, if you've got the evidence, I promise to carry out and do this, that and the other. You promised me the world." So with that, I phoned him up again and I made an appointment to see him at his constituent surgery in Polesworth, and I took a bricklayer along and one of my foremen, who was an half-caste fellow. And 2 weeks after seeing O'Brien, the half-caste guy was beat up in his local pub by about 8 people saying he's a police informant. However, I didn't take O'Brien the documents down that particular day. I took him to his constituency office in Bedford, which he shares with the Miners Association. And I walked in with a big pile of documents. There must have been 150 documents. And he was standoffish. He was in another room, and he come out of the room and he said, "Put them in that room there." The door was open. "Put them on the table in that room there." And went back in the other room and left me standing there. So I did that, and I waited, and somebody come out and said, he's in a meeting, he's not going to see you. But he knew that I was there, because obviously he's seen me on the internet, on the video, DVD. Anyway, having had the letters and all the information, he then wrote back and said he couldn't see no crime that I committed, and it's closed as far as I'm concerned. So, having given him the information, under a promise that he would investigate, he never investigated it. The evidence was such that what I've said, those documents were there, and more. And so now we are 1993.
Al, I'm going to have to cut you again, and we'll be seeing you in part 4.